I don't know what to say. I really don't. Honestly. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. This is going to suck. This is not going to be a fun show. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That sucked. That game blew chunks. Did it not? I'm going to go through my notes here, but let's start where I think a lot of us are the most frustrated right now. I guess I should go through the Big J stuff here. The Denver Broncos lost 16-17 to the Seattle Seahawks, and Russell Wilson loses in his debut to Lumen Field in the Pacific Northwest. Who gives a shit? I mean, Hackett, why are you kicking a 64-yard field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 5? That's my big question. In his post-game press conference, he said, we felt we had a better chance with Brandon with a 64-yarder. What? You just gave Russell Wilson $245 million. You traded 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 3 players for him so that you can go for it on 4th and 5. That was a BS call. It was a horrible decision. Honestly, a lot of you guys out there were beating the drum of, hey, this Broncos team didn't do anything in the preseason. They said all starters. Do you think that might come back to haunt them? Sure enough, it absolutely did. Credit to you guys, because I was not in that camp. I was in the camp of, oh, the Rams said everyone last year lost every preseason game and won the Super Bowl. Worked out pretty well for them, wouldn't you say so? But no. Nope. Did not work out. The Broncos were slow to start. Shout out to Andrew Beck. I guess he's the MVP of this game. He had more receiving yards on his first reception than his entire NFL career. I mean, I'm just going to go through a handful of my notes that I jotted down throughout the game. Let me know what your guys' just reaction is to this embarrassing loss. An absolute embarrassment, in my opinion. The Broncos should have won easily. They really should have. Going into the game, they had that much talent. Now, once the game got started, I said in my pregame show, I said in my preview, Broncos might come out and sleepwalk a little bit. That's okay. They'll snap out of it after the first quarter. Maybe dips into the second quarter a little bit. No need to panic. No, they never did snap out of it. The penalties were awful. Kareem Jackson, you're a veteran. You're a 10-plus year veteran, and you have stupid penalties in the first quarter. And then Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. You can't fumble those footballs. You just cannot. You cannot fumble at the goal line. Ball security has to be at its highest point right there when you are jumping into a crowd of 11 Seahawk defenders. Inexcusable. And honestly, it goes a little bit back to it. I don't want to make this the thesis, but when you don't play in the preseason and you make those mistakes in the regular season, they're much more costly than a preseason loss. But all in all, just piss poor, right? I'm not going to stand up here and pretend like, well, if a couple things went right and they get those breaks. No! Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, for crying out loud. Where the hell did that come from? Did we trade for the wrong quarterback? Did the fact machine say Russ and it meant to say Geno? Shout out to him, I guess, but also F him. Let me go through my notes really quickly. Yeah, the boo birds were loud for Russ. Credit to Seattle. It would have been weird if they gave him the red carpet. No, Seahawk fans were going to be Seahawk fans. By the way, we're not even going to change any graphics. No, I just want to stand up here and talk to you guys, talk with you guys, vent, therapy session for 10, 12 minutes about this game. Andrew Beck for MVP. He was great. That's one of the few bright spots of this game. Let's see. Let's talk about the linebackers. Jonas Griffith. I mean, Alex Singleton was super close to getting a sack, and instead, it's a touchdown to the tight ends. Where have I heard that before? Broncos struggling to cover tight ends. That's all right when it's Travis Kelce. When it's Will Dissly, come on. Parkinson, people no one have even heard of. Jonas Griffith got burned on that long touchdown pass to Parkinson. Griffith did not have a good game from what I saw. I'll go back tomorrow and I'll rewatch the game and look closer at each individual position. But raw takeaway right now, Didn't like what I saw out of Jonas Griffith. Quinn Miners on an injury note right now. He is out with a hamstring injury, or he was out for the game. In Glasgow, he sucked, right? He just got blown off the football. That's why he lost his starting job. Melvin Gordon fumbles again. Wrote that down. That happened. Bradley Chubb, at least he came alive in the second half. Randy Gregory had that nice forced fumble on DK Metcalf. Again, you get Russell Wilson so that in the fourth quarter, you can go to him for 4th and 5s. Not settle for a 64-yard field goal. Did Hackett think he was at Mile High? Come on. That was a horrible call. Let me know what your thoughts are. Should the Broncos have gone for it on 4th down in that situation? 4th and 5. Yes or no? I think they absolutely should have. And I'm not just saying that with just 2020 vision right now, right? Hindsight's great and all, but what's the point of getting a superstar quarterback like Russell Wilson if you don't want to risk it for 5 yards? In fact, what I didn't really get was, why were you going to line up, run the clock down, call a timeout, and then kick a field goal? That didn't make sense to me. I thought they were lining up and running the clock down because they wanted to see what kind of defense Seattle will come out in, and then call a timeout and then make a better play call based on what Seattle did. Instead, they just call a timeout and go to plan B. They made plan B plan A. I do not get that decision. I really, at my core, disagree with Nathaniel Hackett on that call. Just a lousy and sourpuss performance from Hackett and his team in the first week of the season. Gonna call it how it is. Didn't play in the preseason. Didn't have an issue with it in the preseason. But I've got an issue with it if your team is unprepared week 1. Because if you're not playing them in the preseason, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you know this locker room better than we do and that they don't need to play. But clearly, sleepwalking in the first half, offensive line was getting pushed around by Seattle. At least Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy made some good plays. Jeudy had that awesome touchdown over Kobe Bryant. I mean, by the way, this is why you subscribe. Raw, honest takes after every single game. Just ridiculous. Denver's 0-1. They had to win this game. I don't want to overreact, but I am going to overreact. It's a dogfight in the AFC West. You can't miss layups. And Seattle Geno Smith is a layup. How do you lose that? Right? You cannot lose a game like this when you have to play Kansas City, Vegas, and the Chargers 6 times. Chargers and Kansas City are 2 of the 5 best teams in football. That's 4 games right there. 1 and 3 at best against those, and boom. Like, this was a game you had to have. I don't want to look too far in the future right now. And maybe you guys can old takes expose me in December. But I am nervous because this team looked bad. The defense looked underwhelming. Just not a lot of playmakers out there. Ronald Darby was just he made a good pass breakup in the fourth quarter. Didn't see much out of him. The linebackers were just getting pushed around. Seattle had success on the ground with Penny. And you knew that was going to be the plan. Now, I will say, what I did not know is that Geno Smith was going to go and have an awesome afternoon and throw for 2 touchdowns and nearly 200 yards and be just precise and accurate with the football. But Russell Wilson, you threw it 42 times, 340 yards, and a touchdown. You just look at those stats and you go, oh, Russ had a really good game. I guess, if you just look at the stats, it's not his fault that the running backs fumbled at the goal line. It's not his fault that Eric Saubert dropped a touchdown, or a toughish touchdown pass in the end zone. But at the same time, you make moves for Russell Wilson to get you wins in games like this, right? Where it's tooth and nail. You saw him do it for years in Seattle in the fourth quarter, heroic comebacks. This wasn't an impossible defense to beat. The offense for Seattle didn't do jack you know what in the second half. They just kept punting it over to you. And you just kept punting it right back. Pisses me off. All right. I'm going to go home. Sleep this off a little bit. Come back tomorrow still pretty pissed off. We'll talk about it more, and we'll look at some more stats and really break down this game. But I do not get Hackett kicking a 64-yard field goal on 4th and 5 with Russell Wilson and multiple timeouts remain. You have more playmakers on offense. Jerry Jeudy, yes, he dropped that one pass, but come on. Cortland Sutton. It was nice to see KJ Hamler flying around. Cam Fleming, that was a surprise, and he was bad, decent, I don't care. But I don't get why you kicked the field goal. 64-yarder. And don't give me this BS of that was McManus's range. What? There's only one kicker in the NFL who that's his range, and that is Justin Tucker. No, it was a bad decision. Hackett's been this, go for it, risk them all guy all season. I mean, from what we've heard, training camp and preseason. And then he got in some cold water, shriveled up on 4th and 5. Should have gone for it. All right, everyone. I'm going to go home. I just want to say, I don't know. The Broncos country memes, stay off Twitter. I'll put it that way. See you guys tomorrow.